You are listening to 1252 Sports Entertainment. Parental discretion may be advised.
Woo! It's about that time. Fat Mike, Chicago Sports. Yeah. Woo. Finally here. Shot City Sports is right here. Updates on news, get it here. No rumors, cause we keep it real. Fat Mike. Woo. Sit back, relax, sugar beer one of them nights.
Hey, this is Carmen DeFalco from ESPN Chicago, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Sports Show.
Hey, this is Dave Richard from CBS Sports, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hi, this is Jesse Rogers from the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Merkin, the longtime White Sox beat writer for MLB.com and proud graduate of the University of Michigan. You're listening to me on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
This is Chuck Arfine, and you are listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. It's the best.
Hey, what's up? This is Greg Braggs Jr. from Braggs in the Stands, and you're listening to my guys on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. Boom!
Hey everyone, Freddie Hubner from ESPN 1000. Great to be on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. I'm Dan Zaborski, senior writer for Fangraphs, and you're listening to Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
I'm JJ Stankovitz from NBCSportsChicago.com and the Undercenter podcast, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey Sparkle, you know what I listen to? It's the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show with my guy, Fat Mike. If you listen anywhere else, no jock. Listen to Fat Mike. The best.
Hey, and we're back. Welcome back to another Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. With me, as always, is my buddy, my heterosexual life mate, Noah self, Angelo Ace Camacho. Angelo, what's up, my dude? How we doing?
What's up, Mike? It's nice,
What's going
nice
on,
to
bro?
see you. That last week was an epic show. You know, our first on-location show, which was good turnout. It was pretty awesome to get to mingle with some of the people who followed our show for a long time. A lot of cool prizes were won. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we had a great live show last week, great remote. It was the first time that we all got a chance to meet one another, which was really cool. Meeting Alan, our hype man, meeting you yourself, meeting Andrew and everybody else. It was a lot of fun. Got to introduce myself to all the women, all the drunk women in the bar on St. Patty's Day. That was a lot of fun for Fat Mike. So it was a lot of fun.
Element, right?
One of my buddies got punched in the face by Mrs. Karate Chops. Remember that? You didn't see that? Yeah,
I did not. I had to leave.
Andrew's old lady ended up decking my buddy right in the face, giving him a bloody nose. It was a typical St. Patty's Day out here in the south side of Chicago. That's what happens out here is people just get punched right in the face. But it was a good time, man. All in all, it was a great time. People won. We had a jersey to give away signed by William Refrigerator Perry. We had a Dave Dewerson, Wilbur Marshall. Who else signed that mini helmet? Dave Dewerson, Wilbur Marshall, Richard Dent, and Otis Wilson signed mini helmets.
Yeah.
We had a couple foursomes over to Water's Edge Golf Course out here that we gave away. We had a soap basket, all that other cool stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
man.
like opening day basket. That was a pretty cool basket. So
yeah, it was everything. We had a couple booze baskets to give away. One from the bar, one from the liquor store that I frequent that I pay their electricity bill at.
I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to win any of that. I brought you a really nice bottle of tequila.
You did. You bought
what
me
a lot
really
of
nice
people
bottle.
don't understand is last Wednesday was the very first time that you and I had ever met in person. Yeah. Every other interaction has been over the computer, on the phone. So I was nice, and I was like, hey, what better gift to give somebody meeting them the first time?
When I first saw you,
tequila.
That song was like raindrops keep falling on my head. Yeah. That song sprung in my head as soon as I saw you because it was pouring.
Raining. Yeah,
it was pouring rain, but like I finally got a chance to meet you. It was like something super weird.
In my head,
it was a big embraceful hug. Two manly, big manly men.
A lot of meat.
A lot of meat in that sandwich. No bread. No bread.
In my head, I saw the meeting going kind of like.
Hey, what's up, dude? High five. Let's get in here. We got shit to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what it was. Too. It was like, hey, you ready? Let's get this shit going.
It was like Where's your stuff? Put it on the table. I wanted to like catch you like how they did in Dirty Dancing, how baby gets caught and then spin. Time of my life type of moment.
Right, yeah.
It didn't
Nobody puts Fat Mike in the corner. You want to know why? Because Fat Mike never fits in a corner. You see the size of me? Sweet beat.
I was in the corner last week. I was on the end of the table.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. And a special thank you to Fred Hubner and David Schuster. They came out and joined us too. Yeah, Angelo, we got a kick-ass show tonight here, man. We got a great show here tonight. We got former Bear tight end Kellen Davis joining us. You and I were talking a little bit about it before the show started here. How the guy pretty much single-handedly, I mean, he won me a fantasy championship. I'm not even gonna lie. I had him on a fantasy team. That year he had 5 touchdowns. It was good. Those touchdowns got me some big points, some big needed points that I needed for my fantasy team. So that was cool. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. We're going to bring up a bunch of cool stuff with him. We're going to talk about what it was like playing with
He got to play with my favorite Chicago Bears quarterback of all time, Jay Cutler.
The best Chicago Bear quarterback of all time. The best.
Wait. What about Mitch?
Yeah.
Don't get me.
And we're going to ask him about that too. I know he still watches the game. Listen, this guy, he knows his shit, man. I'm really excited to have him on. But after that, after Kellen, we have Randy Merkin joining us from ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000. Yep. Hopefully you and I can just sit back and just listen to him talk. Let him tell stories about George Steinbrenner. Hopefully, who knows? He might have a Kellen Davis story. How cool would that be?
Maybe he could tell the Michael Jordan story.
What if he says Kellen Davis was a dick to him, and then we can't hang out with Kellen Davis no more?
I don't know, man. It'd be iffy. We'd have to have them joust for who gets to be
right.
On the show.
We'd have to have them on both at the same time. Like, all right, explain yourselves, damn it, explain yourselves.
Yep.
But it'd be fun. It'd be fun. I'm pretty sure Kellen Davis would bench press him with one arm though.
Probably.
Randy's a little dude.
Yeah.
And Kellen's a monster, dude. He played tight end in the NFL, dude. NFL.
That's right.
Kellen also has a Super Bowl ring. Did you know that?
Because he was playing with the future Chicago Bears quarterback Russell Wilson. So
we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna have his ideas on that.
A lot of connections here.
It's kind of weird, right? Kind of weird. Almost as weird as having Mike North and Jim Cornelison on that same show. Remember?
That was a weird show.
Mike North started with a hot dog stand. Jim Cornelison fictionally ate 98 hot dogs in 2 minutes.
That was proven false on his Wikipedia page. So we still need to get somebody on there to fix that.
I say leave it at this point.
We still haven't kept the hashtag Jim Cornelison for the Super Bowl anthem.
That's our hype man's problem. That's Alan's fault. Yeah, that's Alan's fault.
Alan.
Good job, Alan.
Get on that, Alan.
Alan, get on this.
Jesus.
I tell you, sweet Pete.
One job. You had one job.
One job is to make Jim Cornelison sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
The football game? That's a little bit bigger than that. It's a little bigger than
one
just
big
the
football game.
Yeah, that football game, that we hear about all the time.
Yeah, that football game that's in February sometimes,
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. I'm excited to bring all these guys on. Kellen is actually already waiting in the green room. He's probably just be like, I can't believe I signed up to do this shit. He's probably like, these guys are absolutely...
I said that when I started working with you too.
But yeah, he's like, these guys are morons.
Eventually you grow on people, so kind of like a fungus or like a wart.
Yeah, I'm like herpes. You know what I mean? I just come around whenever you don't want.
You're not that unpleasant.
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure my fiance begs to differ. But dude, check out the new setup, bro. I got lights now, camera, action.
I see you copied my light thing, which is cool. I was trying to stand out and be different from everybody else on this network, but oh no, Mike's got to jump on the bandwagon.
Well, she also got me this new kick-ass camera, and it's funny. Quick little story. Kellen's out in North Carolina, right? So he's an hour ahead of us. So we got the time mixed up a little bit, and I look over. We're setting shit up here in the room, and he's watching Megan hang lights in the background. I'm like, oh, sweet Pete. He's probably thinking we're just amateurs and not doing our shit correctly here. And he's like. Yeah, but I ended up talking with him a little bit. He's a really cool guy, man. I'm really, like I said, I'm excited to bring him on.
So this is the second time we've had time mix-ups before. Remember we had a while ago, like one of our very first shows.
Who was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember who it was. But
we have to go back in the playlist.
Yeah, we'll have to go back. But it was like one of our first shows together. We told them 7. They were like, oh, well, we're going to be on at 7 their time, but it was really 6 our time.
I think that was Bobby Skinner.
You're right. It was
Bobby Skinner, New York Giants. Right. Of course, it's the fucking Giants. Every New York team I fucking hate.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm sorry because I know Kellen played for the Jets. I'm sorry, Kellen. I don't know how you did that, but I hate every single fucking New York sports team. The Giants,
it's just because they cost you money.
Jets, the Bills are Canadian. The Buffalo Bills are pretty much Canada. Leave those guys alone. All right.
I do like the Bills. I think they're going to be
because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
It's all right, dude. I'm telling you, with Mitch on that staff, it's only going up from there.
Please. I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to swallow a golf ball at this point. If you tell me, all these Mitch Truthers, dude, they unbelievable.
There's nothing to be truthful about anymore.
Here we go. Stop betting on shitty teams. Yeah, well, Tyler,
he's right.
Yourself, okay, pal?
We talked about this every Talking Football episode. You were like, yeah, I'm going to take the Jets. Like, dude, don't. Oh, I'm going to take the Giants. Don't. And you still did it. And you were still pissed off. I'm getting text messages halfway through the game, and you just, I hate the fucking New York.
I feel like Adam Sandler and Big Daddy, like those goddamn Jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time. Every single time.
Was that you and me talking about how Adam Sandler's overrated? Yeah,
and I think you're out of your mind. We're going to ask Kellen that question, too.
That's a good question. But yeah, let's get this ball rolling.
Let's get it going, man. That's a good warm up. That's a good warm up. There's other stuff we got to get to. I do want to talk some Blackhawks tonight, but big Blackhawks win last night.
Just kidding.
Don't listen. Because Patrick Kane deserves the Hart Trophy. That's why he's killing it. But we'll get back on that. Well, let's welcome our guest, man. He's been sitting here waiting patiently. He's probably like, all right, get me in the fucking show. I want to get out of here already. I'm tired of listening to you do dickbags talk. Yeah. But all right, here we go. Here, our guy, former Chicago Bear, former Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawk, and Jets guy, New York Jets, the fucking Jets. Let's welcome on Kellen Davis. Here we go, man. Kellen, here we go, bro. What's going on, bro? Sorry, I'm bad mouthing the Jets, man. I fucking hate them. Why'd you sign there?
Oh my God, Mike.
Oh, at the time, man, it was the right move.
Because
Mike has a bad history.
Season was good. We went 10-6 my first season.
There you go. All right, yeah. It's because of you. I should have been betting on them when you guys were going 10-6. That's right.
See, I was just gonna say that you bet on them when they're bad. Should have bet on them before.
Right. Oh, sweet Pete. Yeah, I'm betting on them when they go 1-6, 1-15. Right.
That's right. Yeah,
that's my own fault. It's my own fault.
And the one time you didn't bet on them, they won.
I know, right? Go figure. Fucking figure. Well, Kellen, welcome to the Fat Mike Show, man. We really appreciate it to have you on here with us. And I was telling you before in the pre-show here, when you hopped on early and when watching my girlfriend and me hang up lights like a bunch of retards.
I didn't hop on early. You got me late.
We're sitting there trying to hang lights.
Mike's always late.
I'm always late. I always have to have I always got to make that pre-show drink, have that pre-show cigarette, take that pre-show dump. You know what I mean? I got to get everything ready to rock and roll.
He's got to get ready for the big game.
I'm getting ready for the big game. There we go. I'm doing my thing, you know. But yeah, welcome to the Fat Mike Show, man. It's awesome to have you. I really do appreciate it. Like we were talking prior, you're popping our cherry here, man. You're our first. You're our first.
You shouldn't say it like that.
How should I say it then?
How about cracking the ice? Maybe is that a little bit better?
Cracking the ice. You're deflowering my player. Right. How's that sound? Is that a little better, or is that still a little creepy? Still okay. Still a little creepy. All right, it's worse. All right, shit. I'll try and figure this out along the way. But thank you for coming on, man. Like I said, we're really excited to have you. It's awesome. I want to get into the nitty. Want to get into the nitty gritty with you, bro. I want to get into the nitty gritty with you. You were a part of the Chicago Bears here, man. You were drafted by the Chicago Bears, 5th round guy. You had a couple really nice seasons here with the Bears. You had like I was saying in the pre-show, you won me a championship out here in fantasy, man, catching those 5 tutties out here. And I appreciate that. Thank you. So let me say thank you for that, first and foremost. Thank you. You won me some money, bro. I appreciate that. But you played with one of the most controversial quarterbacks in Chicago here that we've had here in a long time in Jay Cutler.
Favorite quarterback.
Either you love him out here or you hate him out here. And there was an interview earlier in the year with a former teammate of yours, Devin Hester. He said he was the best quarterback that he's played with, but also the most stubborn and worst teammate that he's played with. What are your feelings on that? What are your feelings on Jay?
My feelings, Jay's all right, but he could definitely be a dick at times.
He can be a dick at times?
So that jerk face just isn't a jerk face. It's just part of who he is.
He's kind of a dick, but that's just Jay.
Is he a leader in the huddle, or is he just like, hey, run your play, get the fuck out of the way?
He's kind of more. I'd say he's in between, somewhere in between there. Yeah, he takes charge when he needs to, but the rest of the time he's like, yeah, let's go do your shit.
Go do your shit. Do what you got to do. Do what you're paid to do, right?
I think the NFL puts a lot of pressure on quarterbacks to be the leader when, sometimes you got other guys on offense that can lead a team just as much. You know what I mean? Be as vocal as you need them to be. Especially if, like, the tight end spot, wide receiver spot, those guys are more vocal most of the time. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So now we got the big J question out of the way. There was a lot of talk here in Chicago here. We said that you won a Super Bowl up there in Seattle after you left Chicago. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. I can only imagine what it's like. What is it like being on that big of a stage? Unfortunately, we were able to see it in 2006. You weren't a part of that team, but we were able to see it and have our hearts broken with Sexy Rexy and nobody else on that team. But you were there. You played in that big game. What is that stage like?
It's crazy. The Super Bowl is like a whole different animal because you're, for that whole first week, you're at home getting ready for the game, and it's just like a normal week. And then you fly out to wherever you're going to go, and you're doing media every day, like 3-4 times a day. You got all kinds of stuff happening. You're practicing like odd different times all the time because of the media stuff. And then it's like you finally get there, and all the nerves are there. You're all built up and ready to go, and it just feels like it takes forever to actually get there.
Right. On that Super Bowl Sunday, you guys obviously won your Super Bowl against Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. You guys, that was one of the most one-sided, lopsided victories I've ever seen in Super Bowl history.
Yeah, it was over as soon as that first snap went over his head, pretty much.
Right. And was that energy was it just boom, done? This game's ours?
Yeah, we were just ready. I feel like that happens a lot especially in the playoffs. Like typically one team's going to come out slow. I don't know why that is, but that's just kind of how it's always felt. And if the other team's ready to go and takes advantage of it, it's pretty much a done deal unless you have a good team, like the Chiefs or somebody who's always going to be able to have a chance to come back.
Yeah, that team is insane.
Obviously you still watch the game. You still watch football as it is. Who's your favorite team going now? Who are you rooting for?
That's kind of tough to say. Mostly I just root for my guys that are still playing, guys that I played with or still know, from working out with them and stuff. But yeah, I like kind of just gravitate towards players. I love watching Lamar play.
Yeah,
Lamar's ridiculous.
Yeah, I like Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty ridiculous to watch too. So yeah, I just like watching good players do good things on the field, man.
Yeah, just like a fan. You enjoy when a game is good, you throw it on and throw some cash on it. Don't be like Mike though, but he'll lose. Don't ask Mike for any advice on betting because he'll lose you a bunch of money.
Yeah, you'll be broke. You'll be broke. All the millions that you made in the NFL, they'll be gone after week 1 on Sunday. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. So you're a Michigan guy, Michigan State. You grew up out in Michigan. Are you a Lions fan? What was it like playing for the Bears, one of your rivals? What was that like?
Well, I wasn't a Lions fan. I was a Barry Sanders fan.
Okay.
Barry Sanders, Herman Moore.
All right.
Love watching them, but I wasn't necessarily a Lions fan. So, yeah, I didn't really have any loyalties coming into the league.
There you go. So the Bears drafted a new tight end here last year. We drafted Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame. Second round pick. I think it was, what was it? The 34th, 37th, 34th pick or something like that. Yeah. 34th pick in the second round. What are your thoughts on Cole Kmet? Have you watched much of him or
I didn't get to see much of him last season.
We didn't either. So they only started throwing the ball up to him the last fucking 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So it's okay, but
yeah, no, I didn't get to see too much of him. But yeah, I watched the team. They had a defense for sure. And I played against some of the guys who play on that defense, and especially like Khalil. Played against
he's a monster.
A few times. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a monster. Sure. I was as much as I'm happy that we have him, as much as I'm happy that the Chicago Bears have him. It almost seems like the Oakland Raiders won that trade a little bit. That's all the talk in the town here in Chicago is we got Khalil Mack. Our defense is getting a little old. Our defense is going to be too old for this offense to catch up, especially with us being put behind here, having drafted Mitchell Trubisky moving up with the second overall pick. Have you watched any of Mitch? What do you think of Mitch? If you have watched any of Mitch,
I think I think he's all right. That's the category I'll probably put him in. Is he's had good games and he's had bad games, and so he's not that consistent. I'm gonna have a good game every game kind of guy. And
right?
I think that's why he's been kind of on the hot seat in Chicago because Chicago's always on the hunt for a marquee quarterback.
Right.
Always,
forever.
My entire life. Go ahead, Angelo.
Kellen, there's always been this debate when Mitch was here. Like, was it Mitch wasn't able to understand the play calling and all that, or was it the coaching not working with him? I'm curious to know, like, when a player just isn't clicking with a team, is that mostly on the player, or is it also on the coaching staff for not putting that player in a better situation?
I mean, it goes both ways, but in my experience, the best coaches cater to the guys that are on the team. So you have some coaches that'll come in and be like, this is my system. This is how we run it. This is what you're going to do. I don't care who you are. This is how we operate my offense. And if you can't do it, then, kick rocks. But that really doesn't work. The guys who are better, they look at what you guys do well. And they cater to that and call more, and the plays are called more so for the whole team to be successful because you got your guys doing it in the right positions, doing the things that they're good at.
Right.
I'm glad we're touching on this here. One of my big things, like we were just talking about Jay and your guys' teams in the late 2000s there, 2008, 2009, 2010, 11. There was a lot of different offensive coordinators here in Chicago.
Yeah, I went through three? Yeah,
right. 3 and 4 years, 4 and 5 years, something like that. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a shit show out here in Chicago. How much of that is – now, I always thought to myself, Jay Cutler, the reason why he never exceeded to that next level here in Chicago is because he was learning a brand new playbook every single year. Am I close or am I way off base?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things. It's just like any other relationship. If you spend more time with somebody, working with the same person, things become a lot easier because your communication is going to be better.
Right.
And, your understanding of all the concepts will definitely be better if you're in the same offense, for a couple of years in a row at least, which we never were, So the whole team was just, it's like you hit the pause button and then you start over again. And it really taught me how to learn an offense, that's for sure.
That's what I was just going to ask. How frustrating is it as a player? You learn one system and then the next year it's completely different, change and all that stuff.
I mean, I remember when I came in my rookie year, we had Turner was our OC, and his offense for the tight end was so complicated. And at the time, I had no idea what the rest of the league was like. So I didn't know what other offenses were like. Now looking back at it, I'm like, man, what were we doing? Like, why did I have to check hot on this off the fourth guy that's coming out from over here that I can barely see? But it was pretty crazy. So it was a big learning curve coming in for me that first year, just because of the style that he called and the way the offense was run.
Who was your? Obviously, you were on a bunch of different. You were on a bunch of different teams. You played with a handful of teams here. You played with Chicago, Seattle, the Jets. You also spent a little bit of time up in Detroit. Who was your favorite teammate, and who was the worst teammate that you've had? Don't hold back. Tell me if someone's a dick. Tell me, Kellen. I want to know who's
Well, he did.
Who's
he
a
told us
shithead?
Jay was kind of a dick. So.
Jay's a dick, but
he wasn't the worst though.
Oh wow.
Oh, see.
Yeah. I think. Well, I guess my favorite teammate would probably be Matt Forte. We've been friends. We've been best friends since before the draft. So it was a lot of fun playing with him in Chicago, and then we hooked back up in New York too. So that was pretty cool.
Right.
But he also did end my career. So
how did he end your career?
Oh man, you never seen the video?
Please explain. How did he end your career?
We're talking 6 surgeries and a
holy shit
nerve disorder ago.
Holy moly!
We were playing out in Cleveland, and we were on the goal line, and he was running outside, and I was blocking the safety, and then the corner came up, so I blocked both of them. And then he came through and hit the back of my elbow with his helmet, snapped it all the way back.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
so
you explaining it's making me all tight-assed. God damn.
Yeah. So I gave myself a pat on the back unintentionally, and that was all she wrote, man. Tore everything.
Holy moly.
Could never make it back. I had a surgery pretty much every year.
Holy moly. I don't even want to watch this, man. I don't even want to watch this.
So, yeah, I got cut short, but, you know.
Well, you still had a kick-ass time in the NFL, man. I mean, you were there, man. You were there for a solid, what, 5, 7, 9 years?
9 years, yeah. Got cut short of my 10.
Got cut short of your 10. So now, obviously, that wicked injury that you took from Matt colliding into your elbow there, obviously that's absolutely terrible. Do you have any other repercussions of playing football in the NFL? What's the speed like? Not trying to get it on like the CTE shit, but it is a thing. I mean, obviously there's players that are coming out from the old days saying that, that they have these constant headaches and migraines and, light sensitivity and stuff like that. Is any of that precarious to you? Has any of that happened to you?
No, I don't really have like any headaches or anything to do with, they don't really know too much about CTE because the only time you can get diagnosed with it is after you die. So it's pretty.
Right. They can't really cut your head in half.
Yeah. I'd rather not be diagnosed.
That's right. Right. But, you don't want to be diagnosed. Right.
I haven't had too much of that stuff. Just my back, though. I got the old back. Had a couple of stress fractures in my back and the elbow, obviously. And yeah, man, just got miles on me, so I feel a little older than I am. But other than that, I'm all right.
Yeah, the funny thing is, you're not too much older than I am. What are you, 35? You're 35, right?
Yep, 35.
Yes. See, I turn 33 tomorrow, Kellen. I turn 33 tomorrow.
Like 60.
Oh, you're just wet behind the ears.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that I'm a lard ass, and I feel like I'm 95. Okay, that's the problem. The Fat Mike isn't just a name. I'm literally 311 pounds here, a solid cupcakes and cheeseburgers, baby. That's all I am.
You should go try out for the Bears offensive line.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I wasn't trying to ask that question, but I grew up playing football, in hockey and baseball at a young age, and I've wrestled. I've wrestled from the time I was 4 years old all the way up until I was 22, and I ended up coaching wrestling too, out at a local college out here and out of my alma mater, high school. So I know, I know the physical abuse that a body can take because I have back issues all the way up until now. I've thrown my back out swatting my dog on the ass, and that's why I had asked that question. What is the repercussion of playing football from, obviously you played from at a young age all the way up to the professional level. You know what it's like to that abuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It adds up over time. That's why, the average career is only 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then benefits, you get benefits at 3 years. They do that for a reason.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. So a little bit about the Russ situation. You played with Russ, and I want to get into the stuff that you're doing now. And you showed me some cool stuff. Maybe I don't know if you're on your phone or on your laptop. Maybe you come take us on out and take a look at what you did out there. But a little bit about the Russ situation. That was a hot topic out here in Chicago. You played with Russ. You won a Super Bowl with Russ. All the talk here in town was that the Bears were going to get Russ. Is that just smoke and mirrors, or what's going on here?
For Seattle to let Russ go would be momentously stupid for them, regardless of how the relationship between him and Pete are. At the end of the day, Russ is going to go out and play.
Right.
He's not going to hold out or anything like that. But, yeah, I don't see it happening unless, some catastrophic event happens. But, yeah, I don't think Russ is leaving Seattle. Sorry.
It would be the dumbest move you could make. What does every team in the NFL look for? A quarterback. Right? Of his caliber.
Or a tight end like Kellen Davis.
Well, why are the Bears even looking at Russ is because they don't have anybody. So I just don't see how.
It's good for Chicago to try,
Yeah.
if they didn't try, you know,
Get
that'd
the
be a
fans'
different
hopes
story.
up,
But
and
I
then-
mean, is it going to happen?
And then we get
Not
Andy
likely.
Dalton.
You going to let go of a quarterback that took you to 2 Super Bowls? No.
Not when he's still like in his prime.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he's still playing at a MVP level.
Yeah,
he
he's
showed
playing
that
at a high
last year.
clip.
Right.
He's playing at a high clip.
Right.
Listen, Kellen, you've played in 2 major markets, man. You've played in Chicago here. You've played in New York. Son of a bitch, I tell you. Playing in New York, you're breaking my fucking heart, man. But you played in New York, but then you also played in Detroit and Seattle. What is that feeling like being a part of these major market teams of opposite playing for some of these non-major market teams like Seattle and like Detroit?
Well,
is there that much added pressure on you?
I mean, you can't let the pressure get to you, because if you do, you're cooked. You know, like you gotta stay on your grind and pay attention to what the team's doing, because you know you either got people telling you you're great, or you got people telling you you're the worst player in the world. You know, and then you get all your stuff in between. So you can't let yourself get built up too much, and you can't let people tear you down either. So for me, you know, just kind of staying neutral and doing my thing, doing my job. But playing in Chicago, you know, was definitely a great time. But the fans out in Seattle were like above and beyond. I remember one night we came back from an East Coast game, like a Sunday night game or something like that, and we flew home and we lost. It was the first loss of the season, and there were still about 2,000 fans out in front of our facility when we got back in the rain.
Wow!
Some signs and everything it's a totally different market out there, man.
That's crazy.
That was pretty cool to experience.
That's crazy.
It puts Chicago fans to shame. We just bitch about everybody on the team. Even
the next morning, we're calling ESPN and we're calling 670 The Score out here, be like, these guys suck. End the season.
Oh,
Mitch is the best.
Yeah. I remember. So I think 2010 when we went to the NFC Championship, we lost the NFC.
Yeah, and you guys broke my fucking heart. Yeah.
Jay.
No, I remember. I believe we started off 9-0, and then we lost our first game, and it was like the world ended.
Yeah, because Kellen, you don't understand this, dude. We've been waiting for 35 goddamn years for the Bears to do something here, and that's all they do is shit the bed every single time.
It always seems
we
like
almost
whenever
made it to the dance floor, man.
It always seems like when the Bears have momentum, the football gods just strike something down.
Right.
Never fails.
Like look at our asshole kicker 2 years ago. Hitting the fucking uprights, not once but twice.
Yeah.
I could saw that guy's leg off. Like literally. Just saw it off.
You're nuts.
Oh.
What a jerk. So Kellen, tell us a little bit about what you got going on now after football. What have you been up to, man?
So right after I got out, just took some time, spent time with family, and trying to figure out what the next steps were. And so I ended up getting into woodworking and doing custom woodworking for a while, until my hand gave out. And then after a couple of years, I had to give that up. And so now just last week, I went on and got my real estate license. I finished up my course. I got my real estate license, and so I'm just flipping houses and selling some real estate on the side. I got it so I could save some money on the back end, so I don't have to pay a commission. Selling and buying my own stuff. It ends up to be a lot of money.
Hell yeah. So the custom woodworking stuff, you said your hand was given out on you. Was that from the hit from Matt?
Yeah. So after my last surgery, I ended up getting this like crazy nerve disorder, and so lost a little bit of movement, motor function in my left hand. So got a little bit too dicey to play with power tools.
Right. Are you a righty or are you a lefty?
Righty.
All right, so you can still beat off then when the time comes, right?
My God, Mike, come on.
Hey, it's a legit question, man. See, he's laughing about it. I'm just fucking with you, brother. I'm just fucking with you. No, that does suck, man. Like you and I were talking before this. I did custom woodworking for about 10 years.
Yeah.
You made that deck that you have out there. Are you on your phone, Kellen, or no?
No, I'm on my computer.
You're on your laptop. If you can, send me some pictures of that, man, because that's beautiful. You did a great job on that. That's absolutely awesome. Like I was telling you, I did Gary Fensick's kitchen. I did Dennis Rodman's kitchen. I also made Medieval Times doors, all at Wood Concepts out here. It was a local place out in Lamont that I was at. It was I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like you and I were talking, man. It was one of the coolest jobs I've ever had in my life. Especially once it hit 4:00, it was beer time. You know what I mean? you crack open the beers, you have a good time. You're doing what you're doing, hanging out with the buddies that you're shooting the shit with all day. Just the camaraderie in that was a good environment. And I miss doing some of the cool stuff, seeing some of the cool stuff that I've done. You know what I mean? That was cool. Like going to Medieval Times 3 years after I had built those doors, and then watching the jousters come out on the horses. That was cool. It's like I made them doors. I made those doors.
Finishing a piece, man, is very cathartic. You know.
Oh yeah, it's excellent.
It's like step after step after step, and then you finally get there. You know, you get to see the finished product and actually, touch it.
Actually, on the bottom of those doors, I'm not even joking you. On the bottom of Medieval Times doors, where like the ground is, like that 3.5-inch piece it was, I carved my initials in each door, MTM.
Yeah, I did that to our dining room table.
There you go.
Carve my name into it.
You're a Picasso, man. You're a Picasso when you finish a product like that. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So you're selling homes. What are you making all the millions off the homes here? You said you got it last week. You're gonna be doing, flipping them and doing everything else?
Yeah. So me and my wife, we'd always had done rental properties, and so throughout my career, that was something that we had done. And then just recently we still had a rental in Chicago. One of our houses that we bought there, we rented out after we left. And then we had a bunch down here in Charlotte, but we're in Greensboro, so we're about 2 hours away from Charlotte. And so we ended up getting rid of those and selling them all off. And, then I moved into trying to flip homes on my own.
There you go.
And, being a former craftsman and stuff, it's a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. I'm sure making it your own, putting your own personal touch on it, right?
Yeah.
Excellent, man, excellent. Well, hey, man, I'm gonna be the first one to invite you out in August. I know you're all the way out in North Carolina selling homes and doing your thing. That's excellent. Out in August, 12:52 here. We're putting together a golf outing. I'd love to have you out here. It's gonna be a good time. You can come visit Chicago. It's gonna be August, man. It's going to be beautiful out here at Chicago time. Chicago and summertime in Chicago is the best out of any city. You know that.
I love Chicago. Chicago's still probably my favorite city.
So you put ketchup on a hot dog?
Do I put ketchup on a hot dog? Not Chicago dog. No.
There you go. Smart guy.
You got to be specific.
Yeah, see?
If you're going with just the old plain old dog, you got to have some ketchup.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Thank you. A hot dog's a hot dog.
Sandwich. It's a hot dog. Don't get
exactly.
Who would even say that?
Hard-hitting journalism on the family.
Yeah, we ask the tough questions here, man. Like if you can still beat off and if a hot dog's a sandwich. We ask the hard-hitting questions. Let me tell you, Kellen, we ask the tough ones here. Kellen, I appreciate you joining us, man. It's awesome to have you on. Thank you for coming on with us. We really do appreciate it. We're going to have to do it again sometime if you're willing, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hit me up.
Thanks, Kellen. We really
it was excellent, man. Next, when you sell that $1 million home, I want you out here telling us that you sold that $1 million home.
Okay, I'll do.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
All right, brother. You take care for now. Thank you again for coming on, man. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thanks, Kellen.
You take care, brother.
All right, boss.
Kellen Winslow, bringing the heat tonight, man. Telling us what. Yeah, Kellen Winslow. Kellen Davis, bringing the heat with us. Dude, listen, he's telling us what it was like playing with Russ, telling us that Jay Cutler was kind of a dick, which we all kind of knew. You know what I mean? We all kind of knew Jay Cutler was a dick.
News.
No, it wasn't breaking news.
No, but it was good to have a teammate's perspective.
Yes, exactly. I wanted, because that's just when Devin came out with that saying that Jay was it was the best quarterback that he played with, but he was also the worst teammate that he had ever had. Kellen came on here with us and told us, like, yeah, he could be kind of a dick, but he's expecting you to do his job. Right. And like that's exactly what it was like. And I can understand that. You know what I mean? I totally understand what he was coming from, because he kind of seemed like that type of guy. You know what I mean? From afar, that's what he was like. I mean, shit, you remember him grabbing Jamarcus Webb by the face mask? Like, motherfucker, block somebody. You know what I mean?
I always thought it was crazy how much flack he got for stuff like that. Because, like, if he didn't do that kind of stuff, people would have been like, oh, well, this guy just clearly doesn't care. Then he goes and gets in an O-lineman's face because he's not doing his job.
Right.
But then he's the asshole. I don't know. I always personally thought that Cutler got a bad rep in Chicago. They won when they first brought him in. Devin Hester was his number one wide receiver.
Jay was the real deal. And like I asked Kellen earlier, is that a true statement? That he sat there and battled fucking 7 offensive playbooks in his tenure here? Is that hard to learn? Kellen Davis, just 20 minutes ago, straight up told us Martz's fucking tight end book for him was some of the ridiculous. Who was it? Who did he say? I forget who he said.
Who was it?
I forget who he said, but he's like, that was the one of the hardest playbooks I've seen for a tight end. Why am I blocking this fucking guy? I don't even see him. He's not in my line of sight. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff that you need to know. And if Jay's learning the new playbook every fucking year, for crying out loud, you know what I mean? That makes a big difference, man. That makes a huge difference on what a quarterback does, reading routes, knowing where his guys are. You're relearning something every year. You're not catching onto a playbook until week 7, week 8.
Right, and that would probably go towards another aspect of why it just didn't work when Jay was here. You could have been the smartest quarterback alive, but if you're switching offenses every year, how do you even find any type of rhythm at all?
Right.
Not only was he switching coordinators, but then the GM switch came, then a head coaching switch came. There was just so much stuff that just went against that team. And when they were on a roll, what was that, 2011 when Jay hurt his thumb?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, they were doing so well. 1 interception, broke his thumb, and that was the end of the season. And that's just always, like I said, it's always something. And maybe that's just because...
Turner, we said. Turner.
You're right, yeah. But, it's always something, right? Cutler hurt his thumb, and then he blew his knee out, and then it's always something with Chicago Bears. And now we have Andy Dalton, the savior, has finally come to town.
The Red Rocket, baby.
Isn't it Red Rifle? I don't know.
He's a boner, so I call him a Red Rocket.
Can we call him Clifford the Big Red Dog? I don't know.
He's a boner, so I'm gonna ride with the Red Rocket, baby. I'm gonna ride with that.
I don't care what they call him, as long as he can play quarterback. Which
now that we're talking boner talk, now's a word from our sponsor. So we'll be right back with you guys. Here's a quick little ad from our guys over at Nick and Ivy. If you guys like beer, this is the place to go to. So go.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, as well as the 1252 brand, because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend, or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list, or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's NIKIVY brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
And there we go. Fresh, quick little word from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. I was just there on Monday with my younger brother, Jake. We had a few beers, watched a couple of the NCAA March Madness games. My bracket is totally fucking ruined. Everything in my bracket is a complete shamble and a mess. I don't think I have one team. That's in the Sweet 16. Not one.
I'm not really into college basketball like you.
Well, you know what?
It
is the Red Rocket. Look, I told you he's a boner.
I don't know, whatever. Like I said, I don't care what you call him, as long as he can play quarterback. But I'm not a huge, I don't follow college basketball as much as you do. I watch college basketball, but I'm not as familiar with, all the programs and everything like that. I usually get stuck watching whatever game in Wisconsin they decide to show, which is like Utah Community College versus Rhode Island South or something. I don't know.
Rhode Island Community College.
Right. So like, I don't really get like the big names around here unless it's on ESPN like recently because of March Madness. But
right,
you know, it's been fun to watch. I'm surprised Illinois lost.
That completely destroyed my bracket. My bracket. Have you seen this dude from Gonzaga? This Timmy or whatever his name is. He has like this weird like 70s porno stash. He's like this big lumbering white dude.
Can we get him on the show? I feel like you and him would get along really well.
I think we would. I'd ask him where he jerks off, probably.
That's probably what you would ask him.
Like, hey, Timmy, where do you jerk off at, bro? What are you watching on your phone or your computer? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But no, it was the NCAA bracket, dude. Mine got busted pretty much day one. I mean, I was just donezo. Ohio State losing, that broke my heart, even though I don't like Ohio State. But talk about a shit showing from the Big Ten. I mean, like an absolute garbage showing from the Big Ten.
It was I
feel like Iowa getting stomped this last week. On Monday.
I feel like people were just happy to have it back because we didn't have it last year because of COVID. It's back this year. I think, like me personally, like I said, I'm not a big fan of, like, I don't follow college basketball. I've made it a point to enjoy some of these games though, and it's nice. The competitive nature with the college kids is always better. I know you're not a big fan of the NBA, but it's nice to see these younger kids, you know, try, especially since they didn't get a chance to compete in it last year.
Yeah, I mean, I know I will say this for a fact, Angelo. I didn't know how much I missed March Madness until it wasn't here. And that's for damn sure. Last year, I was like, oh, man, I'm like, okay, I understand it, COVID. But then this year, I just threw myself all in on college ball, man. I threw myself all in on college basketball. I was watching Illinois. I was watching Loyola. I was watching Ohio State, Michigan, watching the Big Ten teams, watching Texas, watching Oregon. I was all over it, man. I was all over it.
Yeah.
And then, boom, just out of nowhere, the Big Ten shits the bed, and it's just bad news.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the only reason, like, most people are watching is to bet on it now. You know, like your bracket's busted. I did a fun bracket. Like I said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just pick names that I know. So all those names aren't.
All the names you know are community colleges, so it doesn't go well.
Utah State Community College and Rhode Island Southwest
Community College.
Yeah,
that happens. I mean, I get it, dude. I get it. So let's talk a little bit out here. I mean, let's move off the bracket, dude. We have Randy Merkin coming on here shortly. I believe so. I believe he's still coming. Hopefully, anyways. But how about the Blackhawks last night, man? Patrick Kane. I wanted to touch base on this last night. He continues his tear, dude, with another 2 assists last night in a 3-2 win against the Florida Panthers. I mean, just absolutely, this dude has been on fire, man, all year. Putting himself in a situation where I think he could honestly win the Hart Trophy if the Blackhawks squeak into the playoffs here.
It'll be interesting to see. The team has really played okay. Like we had touched on this a couple of times a few weeks back, where like we're just enjoying this season because it was supposed to be a train wreck of a season, and it's not. You definitely see that they still struggle against good teams. They have a tendency to beat the bad teams. But last night was a good win. It was a good win for that team. You know, they're celebrating Kane's 1,000th game, and Coach Q's there, and it was nice.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a big win for the Blackhawks. You know, having Lankinen back in net last night was huge.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this team is so young and so dumb that they could honestly do this. They could honestly squeak into the playoffs. And I mean, I don't know. Like I'm at the point where it's like, do I like almost like at the Bears at the end of the season? Do I want them to squeak in? Do I want them just to fizzle and get that high pick? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I'm looking at. But this Blackhawks team is, I mean, I like what they're doing, man. I like the youth on this team.
Yeah,
Kubalik had a goal last night, the 11th of the season thus far. Like I said, Patrick Kane with another 2 assists on the night. Lincoln in the net looks promising. Subban, on the other hand, I mean, he's bouncing back and forth. One night he looks great, the other night he looks like trash. But he's doing it. You know what I mean? He's doing it. Who is that?
This is my boy, the cat. Alex
Johnny
DeBrincat.
Taze? Oh, Alex DeBrincat. I thought you said the cat.
Oh, no, the cat.
Yeah. But, I mean, this team can do it. You know, it's going to be fun. And then outside of hockey, the Cubs named yesterday Kyle Hendricks their starter. And I know.
Is that a surprise?
I don't know.
No was the answer.
I don't
it's
know.
Not a surprise. Who else were they going to put out there? Jake Arrieta?
Jake Arrieta, baby.
No, thank you.
Come on.
I mean, he's looked okay.
How about the dude that got arrested with a bunch of meth?
Dude, that guy was trying to make his money.
That dude's like, who does he think he is? Esteban Loaiza?
Yeah, I guess.
Remember Esteban Loaiza?
Heisenberg.
Do you remember Esteban Loaiza? He got caught being like a narcos dude too, didn't he?
Yeah, it seems to be a familiar sentiment with some Chicago sports teams. Didn't we have a wide receiver that was like a big weed trafficker or something like that?
I forget his name. I forget his name. Something, I don't remember. Samuel, he had a face. He had a face. That's all we need to know. He had a face.
Played wide receiver for the Bears. That's all I know. But he was slinging weed everywhere.
Slinging weed everywhere. Everywhere.
Man.
He was just dishing it out, man. Dishing it out. So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the Cubs, you know, it's – I have very little faith in this team. They always seem to play well in spring training, and then when the competition factor steps up, I see it. I'm a Cubs fan myself.
Cubs, bro.
But every time the pressure seems to get there, they just fold.
Hey.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
How
about Eloy?
Is he? Yeah, I know what happened. Did he fall into another net and break his leg, or what?
I don't know. I guess so. I'm gonna start calling him Fishing Net.
Yeah,
that's what he looks like Wicked Tuna. You ever see that show where they're like Alaskan fish?
Just start calling him Wicked Tuna.
Yeah,
that's a great name for him. Wicked Tuna.
Yep,
it's a wicked tuna.
Flopping around in the net. It's ridiculous.
He's always. Remember we had Freddie on a few weeks back. Fred Hubner.
Yeah.
Over under on how many nets he falls in.
Yeah.
And what did he put the number at? Like 6.5?
6, yeah. That's it. That's a lot. That's a lot of nets to fall into. So, if he fell into one, that's already one down, and the season hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So welcoming on, he's a big Cub fan too. I know this. His brother is a big time White Sox guy. I don't know what's going on with these guys.
Hey, my dad and my uncle are the same way. Same way.
Welcoming on from ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000. Our guy, he's a returning guest now, so now we can actually call him a friend now, like a friend of the show. This is awesome, man. How about this? We're welcoming on Randy Merkin. Randy, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
Mike, how you doing? Angelo, how's it going?
Nice to talk with you, Merk.
Yeah.
You're back, man. You decided to come on back. You must have had a little bit of fun the last time we were here. Absolutely.
There we go. It was a good time.
This is excellent, man. This is excellent. Thanks for joining us once again. We really do appreciate it. We want to talk a little bit of everything with you, man. We want to talk how you get all these big name dudes on your show. You're the man. Yeah, we want to hear some stories. We want to hear some Merc stories. We're just gonna hang out and let you talk and let you run the show from here on out.
Okay.
How's that sound? Sound like a plan? We're gonna
whatever you want.
It's all you, dude. It's all no. Well, obviously, we're talking here a little bit about the Cubs and the White Sox, kind of branching off here a little bit. But the Cubs named Kyle Hendricks their starter yesterday on a team of pitchers that struggle to throw 90 miles an hour. How are you feeling about our Cubs projection this year, man?
I actually like the Cubs this year. My biggest concern with the Cubs is if it comes All-Star break or around the All-Star break or trade deadline and they're 2-3 games out of first place or 2 or 3 games out of a playoff spot, will they throw in the towel, trade Bryant, move assets and just try to start over? Because I'm not sold that this division is very good. I mean, the Pirates stink, right?
Right.
The Reds got rid of, a lot of guys like Trevor Bauer's not back, obviously. And, they're just not, they won't be as strong this year as they were last year. And the Brewers are fine. They're good, 85, 87 wins. And the Cardinals can't hit, and who's going to pitch on the Cardinals? Who's going to pitch outside of Flaherty and, okay, Wainwright's back again, but how much longer can his arm hold up,
Right.
They brought Molina back. Wong's gone. Arenado's good, very good defensively. Outside of Coors all year, I don't know if he'll put up the same kind of numbers. And if you look at the rest of their lineup, I watched them in the postseason. They couldn't hit, and so I think the Cubs. I'm not saying the Cubs are a lock to win the division, but I think the Cubs can easily win this division this year. I have more confidence than a lot of people do in the Cubs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a diehard Cub fan, man. I'm a diehard Cub fan. And I think it's going to be a struggle.
Let's be honest. They're just, it was a shortened season last year. You basically throw all the numbers out because it was a mess. No one knows what to think. And like guys like, as they say, you always play to the back of your baseball card, right? Rizzo's going to come back. Baez will have a better year. The one guy I can't figure out is Bryant. Like, I just don't know, like, what's going on with him over the last couple of years. Like, he's not been the same player. He's the most talented player on the team, but he has not been the same player. Ian Happ was really good last year. He's probably their best overall hitter. Jason Hayward's fine. You're not moving that contract anyway, so you're stuck with Jason Hayward. He's a real good defensive player, and hopefully he gets you 15 home runs. But obviously, Kyle Hendricks is going to be good some starts, and then he'll have those awful starts where he gets knocked around, where he's around the zone too much. Who knows about Arrieta? I mean, he's pitched well in the spring, but we also know Jake's, throws 90-91 now, so he's another guy who's got to hit his spot. So that's probably the biggest concern about the Cubs is their starting rotation. They don't miss a lot of bats.
Right, exactly. And you were just saying, you just touched on Chris Bryant. He hasn't been the same over the past few years. And I've said this, I don't know how many times, Randy. I mean, I don't know, honestly, Merk, I don't know how many times I said this. He hasn't been the same player since he got bounced in the head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plain and simple. He really hasn't been the same guy. And we've seen guys just, their careers just go downhill after they get bumped in the head.
Sammy Sosa during his prime got hit in the head by Salman Torres. And it took him like 3-4 months. And I think he even admitted it after the fact that to have to get the confidence to go lean over the, the heart of the plate and try to get that outside pitch,
Right.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell you what it's like to be in the batter's box when someone's throwing 99 at your head, so
right.
I'm not going to say, well, come on, Chris, toughen up because,
take off the skirt, Chris, till you fastball.
That's tough. I mean, if he was so good, like those first couple of years, rookie of the year, MVP, and even the year after, he was a really good player. I'd be curious to see what happens. I think if you gave me like a list of guys who will be Cubs, past this year, he'd probably be last on the list. I just don't think, that his value they probably have higher than what it is. Scott Boras and himself, and Tom Ricketts has made it pretty clear that he's not going to be spending a lot of money. So I'm guessing they'll try to re-sign Rizzo and Baez. Hopefully get both of them done, and then work around that and try to rebuild that farm system and kind of retool while they're rebuilding, and hopefully stay competitive in a division that's not very good.
Well, I mean, like you just said, you said Ricketts isn't going to be spending a lot of money, but he sure does, sure as well as shit seems to be finding a lot of money, Mark. Yeah, and some of that money went to our new addition of Jacques Peterson. How do you? And it's a question from the chat here. How do you feel that the addition of Jacques Peterson will affect the Cubs lineup?
I mean, I think it's good. Like I think like in LA, he was never really considered the guy. He was always just kind of like whatever we get from Jacques is great because that team is so loaded. Sometimes when a guy as talented as Jacques Peterson gets a fresh start, it just like opens his eyes. I know he's had a great spring. I don't really put much value in spring training, because sometimes guys are throwing you cookies because they're trying to work on a certain pitch or whatever. Yeah. But like, I think it's pretty cool. He said that like right away, as soon as he got traded or as soon as he got signed, that he got a call from a number, like a 312 number, and he thought it was the Cubs, someone from the Cubs, and it was Jason Hayward, welcoming him to the team right away. And he felt like that, what a great move that was. I think, people are saying, well, he's Kyle Schwarber, right? Isn't he the same hitter, basically? Strikes out a ton, can hit left-handing pitching, and hits home runs. Yeah, maybe. I don't. listen, I think they had to move on for Schwarber. I just thought it was time.
They did it a little too late too, Mark. They did it a little too late.
Yeah, you're probably right. And like some Cub fans are really upset that John Lester is not here, and that they all of a sudden found the money for Jake Arrieta.
Right.
Listen, I love John Lester. One of the best free agent signings in Chicago sports history. But it was tough to watch him pitch last year. I mean, he couldn't get a lot of outs. He didn't go deep into games, and I think it's a better move, going for Arrieta than it is for John Lester. So I think the Cubs made, even if they, supposedly just found the money, got the money later in the offseason, I think it was a good move. So I'm pretty confident that this team's going to be competitive at least this year. I don't think they're going to be a really bad baseball team. There's still too many good players on this team for them to be bad. The one guy who I'll scratch my head at because I just don't know what, he's still throwing hard and he still looks like he's got electric stuff, but he just can't get anyone out anymore. It's Craig Kimbrell. And I know it's his final year of his 3-year deal. It's been a disaster. It didn't work out. And he's the guy, probably a prime guy. If they are not doing well, they'll get moved, but I don't think you can get much for him. But I'd love to see him come out, and he'll never be Atlanta Brave, Boston Red Sox Craig Kimbrell anymore. That, like some people say Hall of Fame Craig Kimbrell, but I'd like to see him, get a 3 ERA and get some saves this year for the Cubs because, that's so demoralizing when you have a lead and the guy comes in and just blows it.
Last year it was almost automatic in the beginning of the year. When he would come in, you're just like, oh, geez, here you go.
Yeah.
He was giving up games left and right.
Right.
The one thing about Craig Kimbrell that I noticed, the thing that used to drive me nuts. Who was Davis? Wade Davis.
Wade Davis.
All right, he was unbelievable for that year that he was here with the Cubs, right?
Yeah.
But remember, he always put him. I mean, I don't know. He had what 30 some odd saves, maybe even 40 saves that year. He always found himself in a dirty inning of his own doing.
Right.
There was always a guy on first and third when he got the save. Yeah. It drove me nuts. It was not and they're down by one with one out. I was like, what are you guys doing here? But he would always do it. And that's the difference. Wade Davis manned up, balled up, got it going, shut the door down when he had to. And that Craig Kimbrell does the same exact thing. He always sets himself up in a dirty inning, but can't close it out. I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Do you remember, I think it was the National Series in the playoffs that Joe had to use Wade Davis for like 2 1/3 or almost, I think, 3 innings to get the save, and he basically ruined him for the next series. Like, I don't think he even pitched much because he was an older guy and he just threw his arm out. And I don't even think the next year, I don't think he was the same pitcher.
Nope. When he bounced out to Kansas City.
Who's the guy from the Dodgers that was a disaster? Why am I drawing a blank? The closer they had for the last 2 years.
Kenley Jensen?
Yeah.
No, the Cubs had him. He was on the Dodgers. He pitched all 7 games in the World Series, and then the Cubs signed him the last 2 years. He got hurt because
Morrow.
Who'd you say?
Brandon Morrow.
Yes, Joe used him like 3 straight games in the Mets series when he wasn't supposed to. He was basically toast after that, and then last year they signed him to a minor league contract, and he just couldn't pitch anymore. But I was surprised they signed him because Theo and Jet are so smart, and he pitched every game in the World Series, and I'm like, and he pitched basically almost every game in the postseason. I'm like, boy, you know what? I don't know if I'd go there because these relievers are so, they're great 1 year and then they stink the next year, and they have arm problems so easily. So I was hesitant on that one. Closers are easy to find. You can make a guy into a closer, but I'm always leery to spend a lot of money on a guy, just be a closer like that, just because it's a fickle position, man. You can be great 1 year and just stink the next year.
That is hands down the most frustrating signing and the most bogus signing that I have ever seen in Chicago Cubs history is Brandon Morrow. I hated that from the get-go.
I'll say Milton Bradley tops that one.
Yeah, Milton Bradley's bad. Milton Bradley's really bad, but at least Milton Bradley played.
Yeah, but Milton Bradley made no sense because at the time I think they had just won back-to-back divisions. They blew it. They panicked because they just choked against the Dodgers. They were the best team. They think they won 98 games that year, and they were the favorites to go to the World Series, and just things didn't work out, and they got rid of DeRosa for some reason, and Jim Hendry's like, hey, we need a spark. Let's sign this crazy guy who can hit the ball every once in a while. And Milton Bradley was just a disaster from the minute he came in. The Cubs became a Cub. He was just awful. Awful.
Milton Bradley was pretty rough. Let's bounce on over to the Sox. I know that you're not a Sox fan. I know you're a Cub fan. Your brother Scott covers the Sox. We have him on here quite a bit with us over at the Fat Mike Show here, man. I love Scotty. Scotty, he just had a birthday too. We just wished him a happy birthday too.
Yes.
So he's getting old now. What is he? 49?
49. I'm 50. He's 55.
I had to bust your balls a little bit, man. I had to bust your balls a little bit. But yeah, no, we have Scott here on here with us from time to time, and he covers the White Sox. I'm going to ask you, a Cub fan, how does it feel in the back seat in Chicago when the Cubs have been the fan favorite of Chicago forever, and now everybody's hopping on this White Sox train? How does it feel for you?
So first of all, let me address. I used to really dislike the Sox years ago, and now I've gotten to the stage in my life where I just don't have the vitriol to dislike the Sox anymore. I like them. They're a fun team to watch. They are, Mike. I mean, they are. Like Lucas, I love Lucas Giolito. I love Tim Anderson.
You're breaking my heart. Breaking my heart.
Who doesn't want to watch what's his name play? Luis Robert. I mean, he's great.
Yeah.
But
who doesn't want the comedy value of watching?
Yes.
Watching Eloy Jimenez run into a net.
Yes. So the Sox are, the weird thing about the Sox is, even though they're the better team now, clearly they've got their arrow's much higher than the Sox, the Cubs. I mean, I still feel like at the Cubs, like the fan base is still much stronger at the Cubs. I still feel like the Sox fan base and it's a strong, like they defend their team to the end, but like the Cubs for some reason are still the team in this city. But like, hey, obviously the Sox have it all set up this year for them to have a great season. From the top down, they got a new announcing team. Len Casper's with us at ESPN. We're psyched for that. He's awesome.
That makes me so mad. That makes me so mad, but it's happy to hear him because I listen to ESPN 1000 all day. But having him leave the Cubs to the White Sox, that's just another kick right in the nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we'll see how the Sox do, because sometimes when you have all these expectations comes a lot of pressure, and sometimes you don't play up to that level. Like you've seen so many teams that come into the season, right, that are like, wow, they're going to dominate, and for some reason or another, it doesn't work. So,
right.
I mean, Sox fans are always gonna haunt them every time they watch a highlight from a San Diego game, right? Because who's like the most electric player right now in baseball outside of Mike Trout? It's Fernando Tatis, right? And they're gonna look at him and they're gonna be like, my God, James Shields, James Shields, So, but like Rick
James Shields,
Rick's done well. I mean, right? He's built that team up, and he's got the good closer to end. Even though Colomé was good last year, but I'm excited to see how this team reacts to being the hunted now, instead of always being kind of the upstart team. Now everyone's saying, hey, this is one of the favorites to win the World Series.
And branching off that here a little bit, Mark. Obviously, they got rid of their old manager. I'm drawing a blank.
Ricky Renteria.
For some reason, I want to call him Frankie Renteria. I don't know why. Ricky Renteria. They got rid of Ricky Renteria and they brought in La Russa. How do you feel that move is going to react with this young team? I know I've heard you on ESPN 1000, ESPN Chicago talk about it a little bit with Carm, with Yurko, with everybody else there. But what are your real feelings? Do you think he's going to be able to fit well with this young core of team?
I mean, you don't forget how to manage, right? I mean, I know it's a different age, different group. I mean, Tony's managed some of the biggest personalities in sports. Like in Canseco, McGuire. Those crazy A's teams, they had some crazy guys, and I don't know. Like, I mean, he knows a ton about baseball. I've never been the biggest Ricky Renteria fan. I feel bad for him because I think he's gotten kind of the short end of the stick now in both teams, Cubs and the White Sox.
I feel the same way.
But listen, I mean, it was a strange move. It was a strange hire. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they're doing him a solid. They're having him, giving an interview just because Reinsdorf and him are so close. And then it kept building steam, and I'm like, they're going to hire this guy. This is the guy they're going to hire. So I'm a little shocked that he's here, but I mean, the players seem to like him, and they seem to be excited to learn from him. I mean, guys won 3 World Series, right? So okay, show us what you got. So I mean, and I mean, who knows? Maybe they're grooming someone in 2 or 3 years to take over for Tony. Hopefully they figure they'll try to get 1 World Series out of Tony over the next 3 years, and then bring a young guy up, and I don't know if he's right now in Double or Triple A managing and take over for Tony, but let's see him prove it, right? And early on you heard like some of the players like Tim Anderson saying we'll see, but now they're all buying in. They're all buying in. So I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see how he does. But listen, here's what I tell you. How old is the president of the United States, right? He's like 76, 77, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So Tony La Russa is 76. He can't manage a baseball game for 3 hours every day. I mean, it's not that difficult. He's not making life or death decisions. He's deciding whether he's going to go to a lefty or righty out of the bullpen. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of this is decided on the field. The manager, I know Fred Hubner's a big guy that managers have no impact at all on a game.
Right.
I'm a little different. I think they do have an impact. I thought Joe Madden had a huge impact, both positively early, then negatively at the end.
Negatively, definitely in the World Series.
Yeah, right. So, but I think La Russa will be fine. I do. I think it's too much talent on that team for anyone to screw this up. So I think that he'll be okay.
Which team ends up with the better record, Cubs or Sox?
Let's see. Cubs are in probably a weaker division.
That's why I asked the question, because
the Sox are going to win 92, 93 games. I don't see the Cubs above 86 or 87, so I'll say the Sox.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so Randy, I love your stories, man. It's been a minute since we've seen one. I need a Randy Merkin story, man. I need a Randy Merkin story. So give us one. Give us a couple here, man. I'm gonna let you do the. I'm gonna let you run the show now. I'm just gonna sit on my fat ass here and let you do the thing. I want to hear some Randy Merkin stories. Let's hear one that we haven't heard yet. I'm gonna let you go. Go right ahead.
Okay. I'll tell one. This is I'm considering doing this one for my next one. It's a story. Rick Majerus. You guys know who Rick Majerus is, right?
No.
You don't know who Rick Majerus is?
No, maybe a little. I'm a little out of date. Who's
okay?
Rick Majerus?
All right, then hold on. I won't do that story because I don't want to do a story that you guys don't know. Let's see if I can find my.
I can Google him. I'm not.
You've never heard of Rick Majerus? Then you've never heard of Al McGuire, have you?
Al McGuire. Yeah, I've heard of Al McGuire. Yeah. I'm 33. 33 tomorrow.
Okay.
33 tomorrow.
Wow, happy birthday.
Thank you. 33 tomorrow. I appreciate it, man. 33 tomorrow. That's how I got all these. That's how I got the new camera. I'm no longer fuzzy.
Wow.
My fiance bought me a new camera. She bought me some stripper lights. How cool is that? Yeah.
There you go. All right, so you've never heard of Rick Majerus. I don't want to do that story. I'm trying to think of a good tournament story I've got.
NCAA tournament. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of good ones, but let's see here. I will do. Let me think here. I'll do Jose. You've heard of Jose Canseco, right?
Of course, I've heard of Jose. He just got his ass whooped by Billy Football.
What'd you say?
He just got his ass whooped by Billy Football.
Yes, but supposedly he took a dive, right?
Yeah, he took a dive.
Yeah. All right. So wait, hold on. I'm trying to decide if I should do the Jose Canseco story. All right. I'll do. Hold on. Let me think here. Well, I'll do Snoop Dogg. How about that?
I like Snoop.
We were just talking about Snoop.
I was just telling Mike.
Angelo wants to be his bodyguard.
Well, because Mike's camera used to be so foggy, you could barely see him. It looked like he was in a Snoop Dogg music video.
Okay.
So that's how I got started talking about Snoop Dogg. And I was like,
right.
Hey, maybe I should message the guy, and I'm a big guy. I could try out for a security detail.
There you go.
So
years ago, it was like we had James. You know who James Brown is, right? The guy from CBS.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was hosting a show for us, but he was working CBS at the Super Bowl, so he couldn't do it. So we hired Deion Sanders for 3 days to do the shows, and he didn't want to do like the normal Super Bowl guests, like on Radio Row. They would give you like all these guys that are doing it. He's like, I don't want any part of that. I'm going to book my own guests. So he booked Snoop to come on, and I had to call him. I didn't go to the Super Bowl, so I was back in the studio. So he gave me Snoop's number. So I call him up, and I'm not a rap guy. Like I just have never, I love Snoop. I love his, he's great in old school. His commercials are great.
He's great
so
in old school.
I call him up, and I'm like, some guy answers. I'm like, hey, is Snoop around? And he's like, who's calling? And I'm like, it's Randy with Deion. And he's like, all right, hold on 1 second. So Snoop picks up the phone. And he says like, shizzle, dizzle, something. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he goes, dizzle, something else. And I'm like, I have no idea what if that means put me on the air. So I'm like, Snoop, I apologize. I'm not sure, what you're saying. And he goes, put me on the air, fool. And I'm like, all right, you got it. So he goes on with Deion. He was great, 10 minutes, just talking back and forth. And I pick him up after it's done. I'm like, hey, Snoop, I apologize. I didn't understand, I didn't know what that meant, put me on the air. And he's like, oh, no, all good, my brother. We're good. So then I'm like, all right, no problem. So then 2 years ago, he's on Windy City Live. And Danny Zetterman, who was producing, I think he was producing Carmen. I can't remember what the situation was. Asked his handlers if he'll come on, and he comes on with Carmen and Yurko like for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He's great, just shooting the shit with the guys on the air and off the air. He's real friendly. Comes out. There's obviously a line from our station of people that want to take pictures with them and autographs, and I'm just sitting there talking to him, and. Like Waddle comes down, I'm like, Snoop, can you believe this guy played in the NFL for 5 years and was over there? And he's like, for real? And I'm like, yeah. And then we're just talking. He goes, hey, he's like, you guys want to stop by my suite later tonight? We'll be getting high or whatever. He like invited us, and we're like, all right, thanks. We didn't go, but like, super nice guy, like great guy.
Dude, that's one of my lifelong. That's a great story, by the way.
That's a
great story.
Yeah.
Before COVID, I went to go see Willie Nelson live in concert, right over here out in Tinley Park here.
Yeah,
and he was absolutely unbelievable. But I was trying so hard to just hang out with Willie Nelson and just smoke a joint with him, smoke a doob with him. Like there is two people before I'm dead or before they're dead. I want to just hang out and have a doob with Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg. And those two guys smoke together all the time.
Yeah.
I can't believe you turned that down, smoking down a dude with Snoop Dogg. That'd have been awesome.
I've got a picture with him, but it won't be justice to put it on my phone just to see it. But so another good one is T.O. You guys know who T.O. is, right?
Terrell Owens, of course.
Okay. I just want to make sure because you don't know who Rick Majerus is. I'm shocked by that. So
I'm sorry.
So T.O. is in the middle. Do you guys remember when he was in all of his battles with the Eagles, and then he was going to go to the Ravens, and then he was going to another Dallas? So I'm working at this national network called Sporting News, and he our NFL insider who works for the magazine had just spent like 4 days with him, and so we get done with having him on. I said, hey, T.O., good guy? He's like, great guy. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, hey, you got his number? And he's like, yeah, but you didn't get it from me. I'm like, of course. And that's like the cardinal rule. You never reveal your source where you got the number from. So I tell the two hosts, I'm like, hey, there's an outside chance, we might have T.O. next segment. So I call him up. Some guy answers, and I'm like, T.O. And he's like, no, who's this? And I'm like, hey, can you put T.O. on the phone? And he goes, who's this? And I said, it's Randy with Sporting News Radio. And he goes, hold on. And he's like, T.O., pick up the phone. Someone, whatever. So T.O. picks the phone. I'm like, T.O., it's Randy with Sporting News Radio. He goes, how the fuck you get my number? And I'm like, I just had it. And he's like, and he starts screaming. He goes, how the fuck you get my number? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm not going to tell you how I got it, but, someone gave it to me. And listen, we want to put you on and tell your side of the story. And he's like, where the fuck you get my number from? And I'm like, T.O., instead of yelling at me, come on the air and tell your side. He goes, yeah, good idea. And he came on like for 15 minutes, told his whole when he was great. And then afterwards, really friendly to me after, didn't yell at me again for, calling him in the, his at his home. And it was good. It worked out well. So yeah, those are a couple of good ones. Like when you're booking guests, like you're gonna get yelled at. You're gonna like get someone's gonna tell you to go blank off most
Right.
likely. Like there's certain guys like that I call and I'm just so nervous that I was so nervous to talk to old school guys like Bill Parcells who would just rip your what off if you called them in the hotel.
Right.
But like, what's the worst that happens? Someone yells at you, an SID calls and screams at you. Like, so, okay, great. So, I mean, I'm never disrespectful to anyone. Okay. And if
Right.
someone says no to me, I don't like scream at them and say, how come you're not coming on? I'm like, I understand, thanks anyways. But like, all I ask on the other end is just, don't treat me with, you don't have to like freaking, go off on me. If you just say no, it's cool. I'm not going to, we're done after that. I'll wash my hands and we're good. So
exactly.
yeah.
I have a story of the same where somebody called me and yelled at me. I'm not going to give out names. I've already given it up before. And then I got yelled at for mentioning him on the air. But yeah, that was that was fun. I liked getting yelled at. And Randy, Angelo, really quick, Randy has helped me a lot in this game, man. Randy has given me a ton of advice. I'm not even joking. Like I have shot him a text like, "Hey man, how do I do this?" And Randy's like, "Hey man, just be easy. Just be you. Just be you, and it'll all fall into place."
It's it's all about relationships, right? Like it's all about how you treat people. And another key thing is like don't always call someone up asking them for something. Like just like I check every day, for if anyone's someone's birthday. Like yesterday was Jason Kidd's birthday. He's come on a couple times in the past. So I just sent him a text. He doesn't know me really that well, but I just sent him a text, said happy birthday,
Right.
Like Jim Boeheim came on yesterday. Like I have a decent relationship with him. Like it's pretty cool that like you guys probably, I don't know if you remember this, like 6-7 years ago, maybe a little more than that, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, he was in a 6 overtime game against UConn in the Big East tournament. Okay, the game went to like 2:30 in the morning, and next morning I'm like I have this mindset, like if a big story break like that happens, I'm like I'm getting that guy on tomorrow. So I remember saying Boeheim's coming on tomorrow. I'm getting him on. So it was like 10:30. I'm like, all right, I think it's safe to try him. So I found the hotel they're staying at, which is not easy to do, by the way, in New York City. I mean, there's like 50 hotels that you could pick from, but I found him and he didn't answer. And I'm like, all right, probably still sleeping. And then I had his cell phone. So I called his cell phone, didn't answer. I'm like, oh, I'll try it 1 or 2 more times. And then I see on the studio hotline, his cell phone number is calling the hotline, man. I'm like, oh, this can end really good or really bad. He's either going to like light me up, for calling him, or he's going to come on. And I answered and he was like, hey, I see that someone tried to call me on this number. And I'm like, yeah, that was me, coach. And he was like, what'd you need? I said, I know I know you're probably on no sleep, but willing to come on. He's like, yeah, absolutely. So he was great. And, like sometimes you take a chance on that and it works out. So, like I remember Jim Calhoun, his last championship. That was the year, you guys probably don't remember this. Like he went off on reporters a bunch of times. He was really cranky that year. He wins the championship. Like next morning, I'm like, I'm getting Calhoun on, and I call up and they're like, he's got a DND on his phone, which means do not disturb. And I'm like, okay, what time does he have that on till? And I'm like, they're like until like 1 o'clock. And I'm like, well, that does me no good since we're off the, I say, do me a favor, just tell him ESPN Radio wants to talk to him. I didn't say ESPN Chicago. I said ESPN Radio. So they ring the room and he answers. And I'm like, coach, it's Randy with ESPN Chicago. How you doing? And he goes, why are you bothering me? And I said, well, you just won the national championship. You're third. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing any radio interviews. I said, coach, come on, man. I said, you just won your third championship. You've got nothing else. What do you have to just do 5 minutes with us? And he paused for a second. He's like, all right, just put me on. And he was on, and he was great. They had some fun with him about like when he went up on the reporters, and he was joking around about it. So these guys they're fine. Like some guys you just know not to bother at certain times. Like I'll give you a great example. Like Yurko played for Andy Reid. Andy Reid wasn't the head coach of the Packers. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Tom Coughlin, Mike Holmgren, Brett Favre, Steve Mariucci, John Gruden, all these guys freaking love Yurko. Okay. I mean, like Andy Reid, is scary how much he loves him. So Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I had the hotel. I didn't even realize I had his cell phone. I forgot I had it. So I called the hotel and I said, Andy, can I have Andy Reid's room, please? And they're like, sorry, sir, he's not accepting phone calls. And I said, do me a favor, tell him it's Yurko. So literally a second later, all I hear on the other end is Yurko. And I'm like, no, coach, it's actually Randy, his producer with Yurko. He's like, oh, how you doing? I'm like, good. I'm like, congratulations. He's like, oh, thanks, man. And I'm like, hey, would you have any time for Yurk today? He goes, absolutely. Can we do it right now? And I said, well, unfortunately, Yurk's not on until 12. It was 9:30. I'm like, he'll be in like an hour and a half. Can we tape? He's like, no, Randy. He goes, we're leaving like in 30 minutes, at the airport. And I'm like, all right. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, here's the PR guy's name. He goes, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to call him right up and tell him I'm coming out with Yurko later in the week. He goes, just send him an email or text him and tell him, and he'll set up a time. And I'm like, sometimes when you hear that, you're like, all right, yeah, that'll never happen.
Think it's blown smoke, right?
I sent the email, and like I was not expecting to hear from that day. That night, he responded saying, hey, how about this time on Thursday? And I'm like, great. So he came on. So and then we had him a couple other times. And here's a perfect example, guys. I send Andy Reid 2 pizzas from Lou Malnati's, and like he freaking loved it. And then I sent Sean Payton after both times. He came on again after they beat the Bears, like after the season was done. It was a great interview. So I picked up afterwards. I'm like, I'm sending you more pizza, coach. And he was like, awesome. So they remember that, and it's with $50-$60. Okay. So, but they remember that, and, it helps build the relationship. And like he's texting you before, and he's totally right. He goes, I come out with you motherfuckers more than Matt Nagy does. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Matt Nagy never comes out with us. So it's good. It's again, I'm probably not getting those guys on if it's not for Yurko. I get it. But like you build the relationship up, and like I said Coach Reid a text this, before the playoffs even started, and same with Sean Payton, just wishing him luck. Anytime Barkley comes on, I always send him a text right afterwards, thanking him. Tell him he's the best, which he is. He's the absolute best. So, it's totally changed. Like booking guests has changed. The industry's changed, and some people don't want to hear as many guests anymore. But I still love a great interview. To me, is still awesome. Like it's still when you can sit down and listen to some guy, back and forth. It's like a conversation. 3 guys having a good, fun conversation for 10, 15 minutes. That to me is still a lot of fun.
Well, it's funny. We just before we had you come on with us, Randy, we had Kellen Davis on.
Yeah.
Old Bears Chicago tight end. It was excellent having him on here. And I wanted to know, because Devin Hester came out last year or earlier this year saying that Jay Cutler, yes, great, good quarterback, very, very, very good quarterback, but one of the worst teammates he's ever played with. And that's what Devin Hester said. And I asked Kellen about that. He's like, yeah, he could be a dick at times. You know what I mean? It was cool. Like, who knows? Maybe just him and Devin Hester didn't have that right communication. Right. But to have it reiterated again, he's like, yeah, he could be a dick at times. You know what I mean? It was actually cool to hear.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we did the Cutler show for 3 years, and I produced it. I think for most of for 2 years. And like I could see it, like he was always good to me. Like he never treated me poorly at all. Like, I would talk to him. I didn't talk to him much during the show. Like he had to do a live read, I'd give it to him. Or I'd in a break, I'd say, hey Jay, we're gonna do this coming up. He's like, all right, cool. He loved Waddle, so and he liked Sylvie too. But like I think he, Jay covered a lot because Devin never really knew where to be on the field, right? I mean, like how many times did you see like Musa Muhammad, like, no, you got to be lined up here, dude. Like, so, and, Jay behind the scenes would say stuff to us like, like there's a lot of stuff he had to do that no one knew about. Like, and I think early on, like him and Brandon used to be thick as thieves. And then at the end, they didn't talk to each other anymore. Like it was bad, really bad.
Yeah.
I think he, like he didn't have a ton of great friends. I think Kyle Long was really close with him. Matt Forte, I want to say, and him, like early on, I don't think they were real close, but at the end, I know Jay and Matt were pretty tight. But listen, he could have owned this city. I've said this all along that he could have, like, if he embraced being the Bears quarterback. He was never great arm, had great games, but if he embraced it, he would have been a star in the city because he's got a great personality. He really does. Like, he's a funny guy. Like, he's got good wit. He's like, the shows. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, these shows were like nothing I've ever produced in all my time. Like, we used to get like when the show was early on, it was like 9 o'clock. We waddle until be on from like 9 to 1. We get there like at 8:15. There'd be a line, okay, around the restaurant to get in for the Cutler show. And then these guys, all these fans would be ham-boned by the time Cutler would go on the air, and they'd all be screaming. It was like better than a Ditka show, and there was that one time when he pushed I'm drawing a blank on the offensive lineman. He shoved Marcus Webb. And that was on a Thursday night game, and Jay didn't talk, and we did the show on Tuesday. The next time he talked was our show, so it was jammed, okay? And like every TV crew was there. We had like 2579 Fox, Comcast. They're all there, ready to go. And I remember going back and saying, Jay, it's a madhouse out there, and he didn't care. He was like, whatever. I'm staying strong. He deserved to be shoved, and he was so, he didn't care. So, I mean, these shows were unbelievable. Like he was, I mean, it was like nothing I've ever seen. Like, we did a show at the Cubby Bear North, which is no longer in existence, and they told us it was the biggest crowd they ever had. Like, it was insane. So, like, and he would do the show, like, and you'd think maybe he'd stick around for 30 minutes afterwards, sign some autographs. No. As soon as the show was done, he hightailed it out of there. Like when Brandon Marshall filled in for him, he always would stick around, sign autographs, at least early on. Kyle Long, the same thing. He would always sign autographs. So Cutler was, it was a interesting. I mean, it was so everyone was so excited when they signed him, when they traded for him, and then just never lived up to the hype. But man, that guy had a great arm. Wow.
In all your years doing this, Randy, you've been doing this a long time, man. Who's the one guy that you were super, super nervous to try and get for a show?
Try to book, you mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Like where you fanned out and you dorked out. Like I know, like for me, like if I were to meet, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this. I'm a big Brett Favre guy.
Yeah.
I have been since I've been a little guy. He's the best quarterback he's my favorite quarterback that I've ever seen play.
Right.
Don't care. I'm sure I'm going to catch a lot of shit for it. Whatever.
Right.
All right. But if I were to have him on my show, I'd be like Chris Farley with Paul McCartney, or Chris Farley with Michael Jordan. Be like, hey, remember that time that you played for the Packers? That's what I would be like. But what's one guy that you fanned out and dorked out with trying to get on?
Well, I've only spoken to Michael once. I told that, I think it was like my last story I did, is that I tried to get him on. He was after he'd retired for the last time in '98, and we got a tip that they were all staying at the Bellagio because the players were getting they were going to go through a lockout. So, and he was listed. So I called him up, and I knew beforehand I couldn't just call Michael Jordan and try to get him on, right? I had to have a hook. And the owner of our company said that this guy played golf with him every other week. So I'm like, all right, that's my hook. I mean, my heart, I asked for his hotel room. My heart's like beating so fast. I'm so nervous. And he answers, and I'm like, Michael, it's Randy with 101 Sports. How you doing, man? And he's like, good. What do you need? And I'm like, I could barely swallow. I'm just like so nervous. I'm like, this is my idol, and
right.
And I'm like, hey, we have a mutual friend, this guy. He goes, oh yeah, play golf. And Michael goes, never heard of him. And I'm like, no, this guy, you play golf all the time. He's like, never heard of him. And I'm like, oh, this is off to a good start. And I'm like, hey, you got like 3 minutes for us to talk about what's going on right now? Tape it real quickly. And he's like, no, man, I'm just here helping the young guys out, giving them some advice. I don't want to be on record with any quotes. And I'm like, Michael, just be 3 minutes, I promise. And he goes, nope, not going to do it. And I said, listen, I'll be honest with you. I've been doing this for 5 years. I said, I get you on. I can't get any bigger. I'm done. I said, I'll retire. I'll go do something else. I'll go sell shoes. I'll go work at Target. I'm done. And he laughed at that. Like, he laughed like legitimately, like not just a chuckle. He was like laughing. And he goes, no, the answer is still no. And then I said, Michael, all the time you've told me no, the interview be done already. And he goes, yeah, okay. He goes, I've had enough. Thanks for calling, but I'm done. And then he hung up, and that was the end of it. But I'm like, oh, but I was never like that upset because like I know I gave it my best chance, and like I knew it was never close, So I was like, all right, I shot and I missed, but like that, like talking to Michael was just awesome because he never lists himself and he never does interviews because there's no point for him to do an interview. Why? Like what does he gain from it, right? So like, but I'm a fanboy around Rhino still, like Sandberg, like, I've met him, like literally met him 15 times. Okay. I mean, he's been in studio a bunch of times. We've done like 3 shows with him, and I've had him on the phone, like, 10 times as a guest. I did this great, cool thing. You guys, have you heard of the Sandberg game?
Of course.
So I had him and Bruce Sutter on together, talking about this, talking about that game. We did this thing back in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series that year. They were about to clinch. We did a thing called Sit with Sandberg, where we had like 20 fans go to it, and they all were at a suite in St. Louis. And Ryan and his wife came out and hung out with them for the entire game. And Cap and I were doing our show from our affiliate in St. Louis, outside of St. Louis. So we didn't get there till like the 5th inning. So I go like right up to him right away, and I'm like, "Hey, Ryan, Randy." He's like, "Hey, good to see you again." I'm like, "Yeah, I helped set it up with your agent, this whole thing." He's like, "Awesome." So I talked to his wife, and then I'm just like fanboy again. I'm like, "Hey, my son wears 23 on his travel team because of you," and he's like, "Oh, that's great. Does he play second base?" I'm like, "No, he's a lefty. He pitches and he plays first." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Hey, you got to tell me, how bad was it in Philly? I mean, that was a disaster. Like they didn't do you any favors." And he's like, starts telling me the whole story about, what happened, with him with the Phillies. But that's the one guy, like I don't get nervous around him, like, but I'm so psyched every time I see Rhino because that was my guy growing up. I love Rhino. He made everything look so easy,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, man. Like, I still get fanned out and dorked out talking to you guys, Carmen, Yurko. You know what I mean? It's funny because I've been listening to you guys for 15 years on the radio.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Shit, longer than that. I still get fanned out and like, oh my God, I got Randy on the show. I got Carmen on the show. This is going to be kick ass. I can't wait. You know what I mean? I still get that way. And I hope I never become callous to it because I like to consider you guys friends now that I've been doing this for so long. You know what I mean? It's a great time. It's a great time. Randy, you going to be at the 1252 golf outing, man?
Of course.
It's going to be a fun time, man. It's going to be a fun time.
I told you that I played that course over the summer. Now, I will admit that, like, I had, like, a back issue that came out of nowhere over the summer, and that was, like, that morning of Water's Edge is at the course you're talking about, right?
Beautiful course.
So that course, that morning, I said to the Carmen Yurko, I said, guys, and I love golf. Like, I live for golf, okay? I don't do anything like I don't play basketball. I don't do anything except like the elliptical all year so I can play golf over the summer. Like I don't want to hurt, So I said to the guys, I'm like, guys, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm gonna have to, I'm out today. And they're like, you wuss. Carmen's like, Merk, my back hurts me all the time. And Yurko's like, Merk, I've had 4 surgeries on this knee and 3 on this knee. You're playing. So then I'm like pissed that they're making me play. So, and I didn't realize that you can't really walk that course, but I walked that course the first 15 holes, and I'm like dragging my leg. I'm in so much pain, and I could barely swing the club. And then finally, Mike Thomas, who is our new boss, I jumped in his cart for the last 3 holes. But I played miserable, and that course is tough. Like if you don't drive the ball well in that course, you're screwed.
It's a tough course.
I couldn't drive the ball that day, so it wasn't fun. But I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait to play. Can't wait.
I love that course, man. And I will send you the details. Everything's getting solidified now. I actually just had the meeting with the guy on Monday. So I'll send you all the details and stuff for it. It's going to be a fun time, man. I'm really, really excited to have everybody come out and play, and it'll be a fun time, man. Eat some hot dogs, have a few beers. You know what I mean? Do what we got to do. You know what I mean? Yep. But Randy, thank you so much for joining us again, man. Thank you for all the stories. Thank you for the Cubs and Sox talk. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy night and coming on with us again, man. It's awesome having you.
All right, one assignment for you. Next time I come on, you got to tell me who Rick Majerus is, okay?
I'm gonna Google him. I'm gonna Google him as soon as this show's
Al
over.
McGuire, Rick Majerus, and Al McGuire. Okay.
All right, Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire. Got it.
Yeah. All right, see you guys.
Sounds good, Randy. Take care, man. Thank you again. Randy coming out with us, man, having a blast with us.
Yo, let me tell you this.
Yeah,
those stories were fantastic.
Oh my God, the Michael Jordan story, dude. I would dork out too if I had Michael Jordan on the phone. Be like, do you remember that time that you shot that ball over Elo? Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, dude, talk about a great show tonight, man.
Yeah, Randy spent a lot of time with us, man. That was almost 45 minutes worth of us.
Randy is the man, dude. I love Randy, and I'm not even joking you, man. Randy has helped me out so much on this aspect of my life.
Yeah,
doing the podcasting, it's never been a problem for me to shoot Randy over a text and be like, "Hey, Randy, I need some advice. How do I do this?" And he just straight up tells me, he's like, "Mike, listen, I got you. Like when he has time, and that's the thing. I'll send a text on Monday. I know how busy this guy is. He won't text me back until the next Monday, but he always texts me back, and it's just that type of camaraderie in this little network that we have here in social media, in this little network that we have doing podcasts and talking sports. That teamwork for everybody that he just gives out to everybody is just unbelievable, man. I wouldn't be doing this without Randy Merkin right now, and I full-heartedly mean that. I really do. Yeah. Randy's been awesome. Everybody at ESPN 1000 has been absolutely awesome in the aspect of how I do this show.
Who have we had from there? We had Carmen, Yurko, Cap.
Yurko, Cap, Randy. Shit, who else? We've had Freddie on with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a lot of. I've talked with Sylvie on a podcast before. I've talked with Waddle on a podcast before. All those guys have been absolutely amazing to me and what we're doing here at 1252. I mean, as much as
I'll say this real quick about that golf outing. I have never in my entire life stepped foot onto a golf course, right? So
it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun watching you.
I might just be the bartender for you guys.
No, you're playing. You're playing. It's going to be a fun time, man. It's going to be a really fun time. It's going to be a great. It's going to be. I'm gonna laugh.
I'm gonna go do some driving ranges on my days off, and maybe I'll
probably should.
Yeah,
that's it. I should. Our teammate here over at 12-2. We've also had Mr. Mike North on the show.
That's right, Mike North. Yeah.
So I mean, we've had almost everybody on. From I want to get Mike Thomas on here and ask him what it's like to be the big dog.
I want to talk to Jay Hood.
I want to talk to Jay Hood too. I've actually hung out with Jay Hood and have had beers with Jay Hood.
Yeah, you told me that story. Yeah. I want to for my sport core, WrestleMania is coming up, and I know he's a big wrestling fan, so I think that'd be cool to get him on, just chat about. He's a big fan of the older school wrestling, like yourself.
Yeah, the real wrestling. Duh.
Stone Cold and all that.
Stone Cold's the man. I was watching highlights of him today.
Stone Cold was
overrated. Oh, hell yeah.
Overrated.
What? No. That's it. It's time to end this show.
The Rock was better.
The Rock is a dildo.
Triple H was better.
Triple H is a dildo.
Austin was only Austin because of Vince McMahon.
No, Austin was only Austin because he was the best, dude. The best there ever is, the best there ever will be.
That's Bret Hart.
Yeah, I was going to say. I just watched that match today. The WrestleMania match.
Austin.
Hart and Austin at WrestleMania.
Match? Yeah, that was a good match.
It wasn't a first blood match. It was a no disqualification match.
Yeah.
We're getting super nerdy now.
That's all right. Yo, there is a population of people in this world that are major wrestling fans, and I'm hoping to tap into that if I get Jay Hood on to chat some wrestling before WrestleMania.
HBK, the GOAT.
Bro, HBK is the GOAT.
You want to see my impersonation of Shawn Michaels? You ready? You ready?
Yeah. He does have him some lazy eyes. You're right. You guys got like the same hairdo too.
You think
impressive.
I'm cute? You know I'm sexy.
Now
I got the
like,
look.
You kind of looked like Shrek a little bit there for a minute.
Yeah, probably.
You did.
No.
You sounded.
I'm
like
not gonna
it.
lie, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I seriously did cry when Shawn Michaels lost the belt to the Undertaker at that WrestleMania. That broke my heart.
Hey, Shawn Michaels was one of my favorites to ever watch, man. Him and Triple H. All right, I can't. I'll go into wrestling. I'll be on a nerd mode for the next hour and a half.
Well, somebody's already fallen asleep. Our guy Alan.
Yeah, Alan's an asshole, so that's okay. Just saying.
Yeah, Alan's a fucking asshole. Fuck Alan. Alan. Fuck
Still,
you,
where's the
asshole.
hashtag Alan?
Alan,
Hashtag Jim Cornelison for Super Bowl anthem. Where is it?
Alan, you asshole.
The show's been on for an hour and 46 minutes, and I haven't seen a tweet about it.
I know, right? Really quick, guys. That interview from Randy Merkin from over at ESPN 1000 was brought to you guys by our guy over here at 1252, John Darren and the Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. I'm going to play them really quick, and we're going to wrap this puppy on up. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
And there it is, our guy Jonathan Darren over at Coldwell Banker Real Estate. If you guys are looking to buy a home in Illinois, he is the guy to go to find your new home for yourself and your new family. He's the man. He is absolutely unbelievable at what he does, so make sure you guys give him a yell. But Angelo, man, how about this, bro? That was a great show, man. Great show.
It was a good show, fun show. A lot of good stories from Merck. It was awesome having Kellen Davis on.
Yeah,
your cherry. Well, he doesn't like that saying.
He deflowered me. He Kellen Davis deflowered me live on air tonight. He was my only player thus far besides Jericho. You know,
I'm trying to work on Andy Dalton here.
Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, Mr. Boner.
The Red Rocket.
We're just gonna start calling him Mr. Boner.
We get the clip from South Park. Isn't there like a Red Rockets episode where they're? If you haven't watched it, kids, go out and watch it. It's ridiculous.
Mr. Boner, Andy Dalton. But on that note, man, let's end this bad boy. We've had a long night, man. We've had 2 great guests. Again, a special thank you to Kellen Davis. Great having him on here tonight. It was absolutely awesome. I loved talking to him. He's doing some kick-ass stuff out there. Him and John, man, selling houses, doing their thing.
Yep.
Doing their thing. And then a special thank you again to over at Randy Merkin at ESPN 1000, ESPN Chicago, coming out with us, telling all his amazing stories about all the craziness that he's done over the past couple of years, over his career, trying to book guests. Now we know what it's like, man. It's a pain in the ass. We got to get there. We'll get there. We're getting there, Angelo. We're getting there.
That's right.
All right. We ask the tough questions here, Angelo. We ask the tough questions here. If you're a righty or you're a lefty, and if you can still jerk it off, that's the tough question. And you know what? He answered it.
I don't know if he answered it.
I don't think he did, to be honest with you.
I don't know if he did.
And we asked the tough questions, like, did you really eat 98 hot dogs in 2 minutes?
That's some hard-hitting journalism.
Those are the tough ones, man. And we do it here at 1252 Sports because you know what? We're fucking professional.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I can't even say that with a straight face. We're professional here, Angelo. That's what we are. All right. But you know what? Here
Professional
we go,
jerk-offs. That's what we are.
Professional dipshits here at 1252
right.
Sports Entertainment, guys. And thank you guys for coming on with us and hanging out with us all night, hanging out with Kellen and hanging out with Randy. It was a great – thank you guys for all your questions and stuff like that. It was great. Sorry I didn't get to a lot of them. We were talking like crazy.
Still doing the follower thing for 1252 and the sport.
Yes.
For,
get Angelo to 200 followers, and you will get yourself one of you guys will get a free copy of MLB The Show, the new game that's coming out here with Tatis on the cover. So get him to 200 followers. Make sure you guys are doing that. And I'm excited for our next week's show. And then we got Friday here. We got coming up. We got our guy Vince and Vince and Andrew coming on with Turtles Takes. I know. I always get confused between him and Alan. I always fuck it up.
I called Andrew Allen last Wednesday, and I knew it wasn't Allen, and I was like, that's why I call you Tarbill, because if I try to say Andrew, I'll say Allen.
That's why I've been calling him Drew.
Yeah, I just call him T-Bags. That's what we call him.
T-Bag. Hey, yo, T-Bag. Hey, T-Bag Tarbill. Hey, is it time to T-Bag Tarbill? But yeah, no, those guys got a great show coming up on Friday night.
Yo, hey, didn't Allen win the raffle for the foursome for golf?
He did win a foursome for golf.
So I've never golfed before. So what better practice than to have Allen take you, me, him, and Vince and Andrew have to fight to figure out which one of them goes. And
that would be a lot of fun, man.
Some golf. We play some golf. We what do they say? We run that golf. I don't know what they say when they go golfing.
4, especially in your case when you're fucking hitting the ball all over the place.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you what. It's gonna be the most embarrassing time of my life trying to keep up with you guys, and it's gonna go absolutely awful. So
you'll be all right, dude. You got.
I'll be the guy in the stories where they're like, "Yeah, it was fucking outrageous. This one guy couldn't hit the ball anywhere." What's that? Was that thinking cap?
I think this is in regards to the Teabag Tarbill.
Yeah, Teabag Tarbill. Let's make a shirt.
Teabag Tarbill and his wife karate chops. His wife full blown like punched my buddy right in the face the other day.
I wasn't there for that.
You missed it. Like his nose was all crooked. It was all broken. He was bleeding from the face. So then I told Tarbill, I was like, dude, I'm like, your old lady's new name is Karate Chops. So I think she keeps on listening, and she listens to our show. And every time I say it, she just tells me to go fuck myself. So we got that going for us. All right, let's get the hell out of here, man. It's way past my bedtime, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta pee. And I need to smoke. So.
All right. Well, then we'll see you next week.
We are out of here, guys. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday. Thank you again to all of you out in the chat, and thank you again to Kellen Davis, and thank you again to Randy Merkin. We will see you guys next week. You guys be good and take care. Until then, we're out of here. We'll see you then. Goodbye.